Adam Klasfeld is back with us. Good morning, Adam. Welcome back to Choose Views.
Great to see you again.
Man, I get the biggest smile. I'll be, on social media and boom, Adam will pop up on somebody's show. Man, you're collecting the miles right now. You've been around the universe doing the work. Talk to us. What's been going on?
Well, thank you very much for that introduction. Yeah, I've been, it's always a fire hose during Trump's Trump 2.0. It's drinking from a fire hose. There's everything going on with David Hearn, that case collapsing.
Gosh.
There's everything going on in the anticipation of the SPLC trial, and that is coming up for this fall. And, James Comey, the government putting a number of motions in that case. So I've been busy.
Yes, you have. In case people don't know, Adam is the founder and editor-in-chief of All Rise News. If you need a little bit of a legal push or clarification on things legal, check out Adam's work because he breaks it down. He makes the complication of law a lot easier to understand and to be able to say, okay, I think I get it. I get it a little bit better now. So, Adam, thank you for that. The simplicity that you bring to some very complicated issues that we all have to be aware of. I got to talk to you about this case down in Mississippi/Memphis, which I'm sure you're aware of. I hope you are in terms of the NAACP's suit against the Musk company that they're filing due to the fact that Musk and XAI is dropped another data center into this community in Memphis that basically without going through, they basically, as Ann Kim said prior to you, they use some of the local, bypasses to get this in. But now it's a noise issue in terms of pollution, and it's also an air pollution issue. And the NAACP has joined the Mississippi State Conference and represented by the Southern Environmental Law Center and Earth Justice, and they filed a lawsuit, and now this is moving forward. Talk to us about what you know about this case or about this filing.
Well, I know that there has been a big push around the country against data centers. I know that it's a historically unpopular issue that Trump is pretty much one of the only people to really throw his weight behind. And I know that we're in the early stages of the legal pushback. There's been a real civic engagement pushback around the country, people speaking out about the data centers in their backyards. This is, as I understand, pretty early stages of this legal pushback. I haven't seen any breaking rulings striking down, for example, a court blocking a data center. At least that hasn't crossed my radar yet. So I'm going to be very interested to see how that pans out.
Yeah, we'll have to share some notes back and forth on this because the DOJ they intervened in late June. And they tried to get it dismissed. But the other part of this that's interesting is that they're trying to use the angle of it being a national security issue, that closing down a center like this or shutting down a data center like this is a national security issue because of the threat toward America's economic and energy security, which is some of the fanciest words of BS that I've seen in a long time. It's a national security, but what about the health security of the people in the community, which is a national security when we don't have healthy people?
Right. I mean, that the Trump DOJ has used the national security justification in court repeatedly. And to be fair, it's not only a Trump DOJ thing. That has been a classic government position whenever they try to advance a particular policy. But with Trump, it's been turbocharged. The East Wing Ballroom is a national security issue in their mind. But
Adam, hold on, man. He's got he had the micro version of it known as a catering container to crawl into. But the ballroom, I mean, why didn't he have a bigger container rather than if he wants a bigger ballroom? Why didn't he have a bigger container? I mean, help us out, man.
Right. And so, I mean, Trump has gone all in, and his Department of Justice have gone all in on backing AI, and in particular, Elon Musk backed AI. Just recently, I believe it was yesterday, the Trump DOJ put a brief in support of Elon Musk's AI. Not in terms of a data center, but in terms of a kind of Grok-like technology
Yeah.
that
And
they
giving them
said
further access. Go ahead. I'm sorry, man.
right that had to do with deep fake pornography, that they said federal law conflicted with a state law, and they wanted the kind of in essence more permissive federal law to take precedence.
Yeah. What about the states being able to govern that? I mean, it's such a shell game in terms of the states versus federal jurisdiction. And anytime a threat is to their ability to have a state actually do what they said they wanted to give the states the power to do, we can use the conversation around women's right to choose. Then suddenly
Right.
they got to jump back in because the states did what was right for the women in that state or the people in that state. Oh no, that's not what we meant. You didn't read that last bottom part of the paragraph, the dog-eared page where we had in because that's what happens, and they play this shell game with states versus federal
Right.
jurisdiction. Go
Absolutely.
ahead. I'm sorry.
And oh, no, that's okay. And to put a fine point on it, in this particular legal battle, the position of the Trump DOJ is that the state's version of the law to guard against deep fake pornography is too strict, that it covers up more body parts than the federal government's version, which they want to uphold. So, it's an issue that it's strange to see the federal government go up to the plate to say this state is protecting too much
Yeah.
against an issue that everyone believes is wrong and horrible. So,
What about the come on, Adam? What about the kids though? I mean, let's once again it's talk about deep fake, talk about fake. How about a fake DLJ? I'm just waiting for the next time that a reporter is in a situation where it's Trump or somebody else in the administration, and they ask a question on a legal issue or an issue that has some legal threads to it. And Trump says, Adam and Richard, where are you from? And we tell him where we're from. And he says, fake news. I think that you and I would look at each other and then look back at Trump and say, yeah, because you're a fake president. I mean, I'm waiting for somebody to pull at Adam and Richard on Trump and say, yeah, because we're just matching your energy because you're a fake president.
right.
It would get us thrown out, but it would be worth it.
And it's funny, I mean, I think we'd be waiting a long time for that pushback, because when I see these press conferences and he tears into someone, calling them fake news or personally insulting them, they move on to the next question.
Right.
And
Oh.
and the reporters, there's no sense of solidarity. There's no sense of standing up with a colleague. I'd like to see some real pushback.
Without a doubt, man. Talk to us a little bit. We'll go to a break in a second, but talk to us a little bit about Katie Phang versus Todd Blanche. I mean, we got to prop up this sister. We got to take care of her and make sure she's got all the protections that you need, because the next thing you know, they're going to try to find out. They're going to try to say something about her that's tied to immigration, or somebody in her family's not here properly. You know how they're going to try to roll on this one. But let's talk about Katie Phang and Todd Blanche.
So, talk about effective pushback. She has successfully won a right to sue to release the Epstein files, informational standing. And in a recent hearing that I was following, I was reporting on it, Judge Sullivan could not have thrown down the gauntlet more at the federal government, basically saying that he's ready to find them in contempt if they don't follow his orders. They were supposed to give him a real rationale for explain why you haven't released these FBI interviews, explain why these redactions are necessary. And they keep beating around the bush. And at the second half of the hearing, Judge Sullivan talked about something in his personal history, that he found the government in contempt in the case of the late Alaska Senator Ted Stevens.
Right.
And he was the only judge in the DC Circuit jurisdiction to have ever found the federal government in contempt. He just fired that shot saying, look, I am willing to do this. I'm not proud of this, is one of the things that he said, because in the after effect of that case, there were one of the prosecutors took his own life. So this was a case with a heavy history, and he has strong feelings about this one, but he also has strong feelings about protecting the public interest. And so this was a major win for Katie Phang to go bring this case in front of a judge who was not only willing to say, yes, journalists have informational standing, that if you are not given information that the law entitles you to have, you have the right to sue, you have the right to go to court. And if the government doesn't provide that information, or provide a really good explanation as to why they're not providing that information, then they can be found in contempt. So she did a really effective job. Not only, many journalists bring Freedom of Information Act suits.
Right. But then that leads down the path of national security is kind of the block that they put on when it's a FOIA request, oftentimes. Right.
Absolutely. And one of the things that's so important about this case is that it's a whole new avenue by which journalists can claim information in the public interest. And that was because Katie Phang stood up.
It's going to set a precedent. It potentially could set a precedent to give legal standing in the future to other journalists that are requesting information from this based on this basis, is how I want to try to say it. And it also says to Adam, and then we're going to take a quick break, Katie Phang's just a better attorney than Todd Blanche is.
Right.
She's a better attorney. She gets it better. She figured out a way to use the legal system on a state and federal level to really properly go after information that the country so desperately needs to out this cabal. Adam, let's take a quick break, my man. We're going to come back and we'll talk a little bit more about a few other cases that are out there. The number is 773-763-9278. I'm Richard Chu. Keep it locked in. We'll be right back with more of me and Adam chopping it up here on Chu's Views. We'll be right back. Yes, he is the founder of and editor-in-chief of All Rise News. I'm talking about my man, Adam Klasfeld. I'm Richard Chu, and this is Chu's Views. Thanks for tuning in, you guys. Adam, talk to us about what's happening. I don't know if how much you can lean into this, but the Southern Poverty Law Center trial. Talk to us a little bit about what's going on there.
Well, the biggest recent development, there have been a couple, but the SPLC has lost its motion to dismiss the case for vindictive prosecution. And in my mind, it was a pretty stunning ruling. So to take a step back, the Trump DOJ has gone after the SPLC, accusing them of wire fraud and money laundering on an outlandish theory that when they said that they were fighting white supremacy and racism, they were actually funding it because they paid informants. Well, the FBI uses informants. People use informants to get information on the groups that they want to get information that could damage them. And there's been all sorts of evidence about that. But about the vindictive prosecution motion, because what is very interesting to me about this legal fight is we see left and right people on Trump's enemies list getting indicted, getting prosecuted, getting investigated. And what does it take to actually prevail on a motion to dismiss for vindictive prosecution? And here you had the President of the United States attacking the SPLC. You had Todd Blanche, after the SPLC's indictment, spreading misinformation about the SPLC on TV and having to walk it back. That was the subject of a different court fight. You had Harmeet Dillon under him talking about them on on TV and saying that they went after my friends, which would be evidence of vindictive prosecution. Now, the judge in that case, U.S. District Judge Emily Marks, who's a Trump appointee, she ruled against the SPLC and said, well, set all of that noise, as she called it, aside. You have to show something going on in the actual district where it's taking place, the Middle District of Tennessee. Excuse me, Middle District of Alabama. I'm thinking of Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
That's okay.
But the Middle District of Alabama, there was a whistleblower report from that district sent to Congress, specifically to Congressman Raskin, saying the main justice is leaning on us to rush through this indictment, and we have serious concerns about that. That's not mentioned anywhere in the ruling. So this is serious for the SPLC because it means, one, they're going to need to stand trial, but there's a larger question here. And I would normally, I've been covering the courts for about a decade and a half, and normally someone not winning a vindictive prosecution motion, they're very tough to win. But the Trump DOJ, this is a whole different ballgame. What does it take? If the president of the United States goes after you, if the senior officials in the Justice Department go after you, and there's a whistleblower report, what the judge found here is that's not even enough to start an investigation into vindictive prosecution. And so it makes one really wonder, where is the check on our system to stop the government from retaliating against you simply because they don't like what you do, they don't like your speech. The MAGA world was very upset by the SPLC's reporting on Charlie Kirk. After Charlie Kirk's assassination, the SPLC, like everyone else, condemned the assassination, but they were critical of what he said, and they're in their monitoring of hate speech. And so there was they sort of, the SPLC after that, they were subject to a lot of backlash from MAGA world, leading to this indictment. And one wonders if a vindictive prosecution motion backed by all that evidence can't prevail. Where is that check on the system in Trump 2.0 and the revenge tour?
Yeah, that's exactly the right title for it. I mean, I think about an article that a good friend of ours on the show, Karen Byrne of True Blue Politics podcast, wrote on Substack last week about the situation with the SPLC and the KKK and this infiltration and the money and Heidi Beirich and her organization on extremism and trying to, now they're trying to pull other people in who were part of doing what the government has done to infiltrate organizations and using money and spycraft and to do it. I actually thought about the movie Black Klansman in this moment, because you know what I'm saying? I thought,
oh, totally. I think that's absolutely right. And you mentioned Heidi Beirich. So she was just indicted. She's the first employee of the SPLC to be charged by this DOJ. And they leave certain things out of the indictment. Like, for example, what the informant, even according to their indictment, the information that they got helped find information about an extremist organization that she wrote an article exposing all sorts of financial improprieties. Now, what did this informant's program accomplish? We now know from the public record that it stopped a potential terrorist attack on a synagogue in Las Vegas. We know that they stopped a crime of someone trying to hide extremist affiliations in Pennsylvania to get a security clearance. We know that the Trump administration makes a lot of hay about trying to do an alternate history of the hate march in Charlottesville, and they try to blame that on the informant. But what did we find out through this litigation? What did the informant do? The informant compiled a dossier of all the people who would be attending that Charlottesville hate march, so that when federal law enforcement was looking into it, when local law enforcement was looking into it, they would know that this neo-Nazi is going to be there, this Klansman is going to be there. And so I think right now it's so important to get the hard facts about this case out there, because there's an attempt through this prosecution at revisionist history. And you hear early in their indictment, you had Caroline Leavitt claiming that
Yeah.
essentially that Charlottesville was a false flag, which is ludicrous. That there were prosecutions, there were arrests, there were murders.
The woman that died from the guy that drove through the crowd.
Absolutely, Heather Heyer.
Heather Heyer, thank you.
And an assault of an innocent bystander. There was no false flag. The informant, if you closely read the indictment, they don't even accuse him of doing any serious organizing. They say that he was on an organizer's chat. And what does he do with that access, with that information? He hands a large dossier to the federal government, which knew that the SPLC helped them for years, until Kash Patel last year said, I don't want to work with these guys anymore. The SPLC and the ADL and other organizations worked hand in hand with the federal government to disrupt crimes, to disrupt terrorism plots by the ugliest, most hateful groups in the country.
Yep.
And I think one of the goals that the government's trying to do, they want to paint with this really broad brush and say that, oh, because it's an informants program, they were funding the Klan, they were funding the neo-Nazis. No, they were hiring informants that there is a vast public record showing the damage, the degrading that they did to these hate groups.
Yeah.
And
so how much
that's
worse, without this infiltration, how much worse things could have been for some very specific groups, Jewish communities, Muslim communities, African-American communities, Latino communities, some women's groups. I mean, they got in the way because of this infiltration. They got in the way of allowing those groups to further their hateful extremist message and intent. And this is where, unfortunately, Heidi got caught up in this, but it not for doing the wrong thing, but for exposing the wrongs that were being done. And it's just, and our federal government and our state governments have done the same doggone thing in many, many cases. So it's crazy. Hey man, I know we got to wrap up, and it's always great to see you. I'm always glad you're doing well. And like I said, I follow the breadcrumbs when you're out and about doing stuff, and I'm able to kind of further my knowledge by following what you're doing with All Rise News. Real quick as we wrap up, give us your 30-second comments on the 0-2 losing streak of the federal government when it comes to some of these Department of Justice losses with regard to voter rolls. And now they're going to try to take it to the Supreme Court. But they keep losing, man. They're 0-20. Come on.
0-22, I believe the tally is now.
Wow.
They've been going all over the country. Harmeet Dillon, who is Trump's former election lawyer in 2020, is the person behind this. And the voter section chief is a person who went after a voting machine company. They've been on a losing streak since this happened. They papered lawsuits in 30 different jurisdictions. They're 0-22 right now. And it goes to show that the just big picture authoritarian actions, the attempts to get hands on sensitive information to interfere with the elections, that goes up against the rule of law. That goes up against the courts, and pushback is working.
Yeah, it is. It's great to see that. So we all have to support them keeping up the fight. Guys, you got to follow Adam Klasfeld if you need some kind of legal help to understand the things that are going on in the country right now. That's the place to go. All Rise News. He's the editor and editor-in-chief and founder of it. Adam, man, it's always good to see you on the show. Look forward to having you back again, because there's going to be some legal stuff that we're going to talk about. So take care of yourself and please stay safe, okay?
Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to the next time.
All right, man. Be well. Talk to you soon.